You will break your chains with a 3-step solution, no matter whether it's an incurable disease, family or drug problems, even loneliness or a slave labor. You will get out of these difficulties forever. My name is Elias, and today I will present you a solution for your problems, because I got a solution for my biggest problem. From one second to the other, when I walked in the streets of Vienna in Austria, a policeman in Seville, he put handcuffs on my hands and I had to go to a prison of investigation. So I never was involved in crimes or things like this. I worked after university in the financial business, in the bank business. So I never could imagine to be in a prison. I knew a prison only from the game Monopoly, the money game, and from Alcatraz, the island which is in the Bay of San Francisco, California. But I never could imagine to sit in a tiny, stinky cell like it happened. So I was really destroyed. I had no idea what to do and I was really sad. But after a while, I made a headstand to change my point of view, and it helped. I got a different view of my situation and I took the decision not to accept these circumstances, because I was not, and I never have been, a dangerous animal to be in a cage. So the first step is to take a firm decision. If you want to get out of your situation, you have to take a decision. Every solution and every change of life starts with a decision. And then you have to do the second step, preparation. Without preparation, it's impossible to change our life, to solve our problems. So in my case, in this highly secured prison, I had to prepare myself. And the first issue of preparation was my physical preparation. I started to run on a spot in my tiny cell like 3 or 4 times in the week. And I started to make push-ups, and so I could improve my physical fitness. And that's important, to prepare. To prepare sometimes means to sweat. It's always an effort, whether you prepare yourself for an exam and for a test. Because we all know that an exam and a test, a work project, mainly fails by a bad preparation and not in the exam or in the work itself. So we have to prepare ourselves in the best way possible. Maybe you have an incurable disease, so you have to look for similar cases. You have to raise your faith, and you have to prepare yourself even to get out of an incurable disease. there is always a solution. Or if you have a slave labor now, maybe you can think about an independent work. What do you like to do? Where is your strength and your talent? So you have to investigate and to prepare yourself. Another issue of my preparation was to think again. Aristotle said, thinking is to observe the facts. So I started to observe the guardians, the policemen, which weapons they have, the time periods they come and go, all things I started to observe. But after a time of nearly 4 months, I came to the most important issue of my preparation. Because I was lost in the so-called New Age, which is not new, it's so old like Adam and Eve, to be like God. But it's impossible. God is God and man is man. And there is a connection, yes, there is a connection with our soul. Our soul connects us with God because He gave us our soul. But we are human beings and we have to accept this. But with this new age, I felt like a little God. So in this issue of preparation, I started to admit that I am not a little God and that I have no solution. So I had to humble myself and I wrote it even down that I have no solution and that I am nobody. Yes, I wrote it down, and 5 days after I could finally admit this, I got the strategy to escape, to get out, and I could celebrate freedom. Yes, and you also will celebrate your freedom from this long-lasting problem. So, sometimes we have to admit that we need help, that we need even miracles, a divine solution to get out of our problem, thinking outside of our box. So I got the solution to simulate a muscle injury. Because a muscle injury you only can investigate with a computer tomography, and I thought that this very expensive instrument would not be in the prison because they have everything. They have X-ray, they have doctors and even dentists. So to get out of the prison, to come into a hospital, I needed a special injury, and I had some experience because of my life of sports and exercise. I knew what to do. So the second step is preparation, and then comes the third step, action. The day of action will arrive also for you. So the day of action arrived for me after about 4 months. I don't know how long it will take for you. Maybe 1 week, maybe 1 month, maybe 1 year. Don't get desperate. The day of action will come. So I started to run on the same spot, and then I threw down myself on the floor shouting, and the other guy who was with me in the cell, he said, "What happened?" I answered, "You have to press the bell to call the policeman, and they came, 2 policemen, and they looked at me, and I told them that I have to go to the doctor. So slowly I got up and I told them that I cannot walk on the injured foot. So with jumping on one foot, we arrived at the doctor, which was close to our cell, thanks to God. And I directly said to the doctor, yeah, it must be a muscle injury. And he, investigating my muscle, he said, yeah, you are right. So if it's not better tomorrow, I will send you to an hospital. So the first smile came into my heart to see the first light in this bad situation. And of course it was not better the next day. And I asked also for crutches, because I knew with handcuffs it's impossible to escape. But with crutches they could not put handcuffs on my hands. So I asked for this walking help and they brought it to me. So we went down into the entrance hall, and the policeman who should accompany me to the hospital, he took a weapon, and so we waited for the transport to the hospital. And when we got out of this entrance hall, leaving the prison after 4 months, the sun came into my heart, and I knew I won't get back in this hell, in this horrible place. I was absolutely sure about this. Also, I had no strategy what to do in the hospital. After 20 minutes, we arrived in this big complex of several buildings of the hospital, and a big wall was around the complex, and we stopped in front of a building, and the policeman went together with me into the waiting room of this hospital. And there were sitting about 20 to 30 people looking and observing us, because we were the big attraction in this boring situation. So they all looked at us, and we arrived at the counter, and the policeman had to fill in a form, and he told me to sit down. And I sat down. I put my sticks on the side, and I started to wait. But not even 2 minutes passed when I heard an inner voice saying, "Now or never." Oh, I frightened. There was no time to think, no time to doubt. I got up and I walked straightly to the door, opened the door, and I started to run. And like a miracle, nobody in the waiting room rose up or shouted. And I even did not know what happened to the policeman, because I did not look back. I only ran to my freedom. And you will get out also. You too will get out of your problem, and you will celebrate your victory. So I got back my freedom, and now I can value the freedom. Now I really know what it means to be free. And I'm free until today. Now 14 years passed, exactly 14 years it will be on Monday that I could take the flight out of this horrible jail. And of course, my case now, it's closed, everything is fine, my police report is fine, and I could change my life. And in the next videos, I will talk about this healing, how to change completely our lives. That's very important, to not go back to the prison, to not go back to the incurable disease, to not go back to drugs and family problems. We need a solution forever. That's important. So thanks for listening to the 3-step solution: decision, preparation, and action. My name is Elias and I wish you all the best. Goodbye. Ciao, ciao.